dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Goonies never say die.
God knows I want you, but you don't get to destroy who I am. The Night Rider.
I'm a compulsive liar.
That's rough, buddy.
And use the power of the Matrix to light our darkest hour.
That ain't right. All right, ready?
Yes.
Hey everyone, welcome to another excellent episode of the FanCast. Today, as always, we have Mike and our good friend Tim from Red Raptor Rights.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another Red Raptor Rights.
Hey, what up?
What's up?
Yo.
Now, what are we talking about today?
Well, we are talking about a most excellent franchise in cinema.
Excellent.
You may call it the Bill and Ted movie series.
Gentlemen, I'm here to help you with your history report.
What? How?
Whoa!
Oh, I hate that part. Bill.
What?
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
J7.
Hit. A hit. You have sunk my battleship.
Ready, Bill? Ready, Ted. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Woo!
Yeah.
All three of them. The Trilogy.
The guitar motioning gesture, but no guitar music plays when I do that.
That's sadder. Dude, you could do a whole Bill and Ted movie, only like none of the sound effects, and it's just really sad. It just looks like two guys just like who have issues going around.
Maybe that's why like everyone like they're like Ted's dad hates him so much. Like whenever he tries to do the guitar thing,
it's
no
all in their head
in universe, so you don't get it. And they look so lame.
No, like they don't actually travel through time. Like they're actually like they're all hallucinating. Like what is it like? Ted doesn't even exist. It's just Keanu Reeves as a kid who's like hallucinating everything. Game
Honestly,
theory.
I could see that as a theory. They're just hallucinating the whole thing.
Either way, guys, you know, if you haven't seen them, first we'll talk about them one by one, our thoughts, opinions. Yeah, so let's start with Excellent Adventure. So I think the first time I saw it was probably on Netflix. I think that's how I got to it. It's like it was one of the 80s films on my list. I wasn't super interested, but after I watched it, I'm like, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good one. What do you think, Mike?
So, yeah, the very first time I watched it was actually at your house. Sky showed it to me on VHS, and it was like very late at night. I was sleeping over, and yeah, I had a most excellent time.
I'm seeing a recurring theme here.
Yeah, I loved it right away when I first watched it, and yeah, I couldn't wait to watch it again. It was really good.
And how about you, Tim?
Yeah. So the first time I saw it was like about a month ago when you guys came over to my house. We watched that and Escape from New York.
Oh my gosh, so
I
good.
really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was like a really like fun, upbeat comedy, but it also had like a lot of like really good jokes. Like it was a very intelligent movie with dumb characters, and I loved it.
And like, yeah, the best thing I could say about it, kind of like just thinking out loud, the best thing I can say about it is that it really understands how to do like the situational comedy between like the two characters. Like I know a lot of people who've watched it, it's like they're stupid. It's stupid, but it's like it's the world that works around them that makes it even funnier. And the fact that they're supposed to be like deities in the future is so genius.
I think you can like compare that to the new Dora movie, or it's like she's the odd one out, but everyone else around her is normal. So like the comedy between just these two ridiculous guys.
I just dropped my
and
$100
the
headphones like an
situations.
idiot. Oh my gosh. Anyway, back to what you were saying.
Yeah. It's like it's not like dumb humor, like a dumb movie. Just look at the dumb people. It's like it actually makes intelligent jokes, but it just has dumb people as the lead.
I also like that it's like it's soaked in an 80s cheese where it's like, what's the first thing historical figures would want to do in the 80s? Go to a mall. Go to a slip and slide.
Eat ice cream.
Eat ice cream.
And like, that was so genius, though. How they set up the Napoleon at Waterloo joke.
Oh my gosh. So, oh my gosh. I still think that's like one of the funniest gags in the movie is it's just they just know it's like, oh yeah, of course, the first thing you want to do if you're a French leader of war is to go to a water park. Of course.
But it was so, as someone who studies history for school, that I really appreciate that joke. Because the battle that he was defeated at was Waterloo, so
they took him out of time before that even happened, though.
I was thinking the same thing, but still, the joke was great.
I mean, to be fair, it could have been the Battle of Waterloo. Like, he was just about to be defeated, and he's like, I doubt that, though.
I think the year was off, but either way.
Well, everything's off. I think a lot of things are historically off.
The whole movie is off, okay?
Oh, it does not adhere to time travel at all. I love it. Just the fact that Socrates is, like, knows minimal English, like, starts to actually understand, and how much, like, and how they're able to comprehend the world at all without, like, totally freaking out and, like, having an aneurysm. Like, that's a testament.
Socrates, no. I don't know if Freud knew English. I can't tell you that
Freud.
much.
Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
No, but just the fact that Socrates didn't freak out when he went to modern times. I mean, to be fair, I don't know. I don't think it's likely.
Maybe he saw, like, a courthouse with the Greek columns. It was like, oh, okay, I recognize that. I know that.
Dude, what if that's, like, our future? Like, we go into the future and, like, they have, like, quote-unquote, like, malls and stuff. And every vision of the future now is like, oh, it's all virtual and everything like that. But no, imagine you go to, like, a quote-unquote mall and you walk in and everything is, like, made out of plexiglass. Like, to the point where it's just a giant cylinder. But then you notice and it's like, oh, they still have a Buffalo Wild Wings, so...
Hashtag not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
But we are sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends.
No!
Bill and Ted Raid the Shadow Legends. Anyways, I just think, in general, the movie's just a good time. And, like, all the actors bring their A game into it. And, you feel it for each and every character. It's just so much fun. I think it's just funny that, like... the sheer fact that, like, you got these two powerhouse actors, like Alex Winter, like, obviously became, like, more of a child star, and Keanu Reeves is the powerhouse he is today, but just so young in their career doing something so fun, and that would continue on into their next film, Bogus Journey. Tim didn't see this.
I saw some of it. You guys showed me some of it.
Yeah, for explanation.
I'll give whatever commentary I can.
It's pretty good. A lot of people like it more than the first, and I'm like, I'm not in that camp.
Really?
Yeah, no, a lot of people, like Red Letter Media was saying it's better than the first one, and I'm like, it's not my thing.
One of them did, because I actually saw that video too last week.
Yeah,
from what I've seen, the humor didn't seem like as tight as, I don't know. It was a lot darker and just weirder. It was like a different kind of movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was I'm not totally against, like, going a little darker with some stuff. Like Back to the Future Part 2 did it very well.
Yeah.
But
the way they did it.
Bill and Ted, I feel like it's such a light, like, the first movie was such a light-hearted film that to make the sequel like as dark as it was, I don't think it really meshed well with the.
Well, I think it can mesh well, but it's more about stakes, if anything. And we'll get into that with the last film because I think they did stakes the best in that one. But in this one, it's like, yeah, it's their girlfriends. Yeah, that's all there too. But it's like, you know, like I Heaven and Hell, like that's kind of cool. But there's barely any time travel in it. It's not even like a part of the story. And people are like, oh, that's a good thing. They're changing the dynamic. And I'm like, yeah. And they're doing more with the characters. But it's like, for the people who like the time travel stuff, I don't know if it's like as good of a switch.
Yeah, I loved it. And like, I don't know, it just didn't seem to have the same magic.
Death was awesome in it. Like that's oh my gosh,
definitely the best part of the whole movie. Like I would just rewatch it just for him.
Yeah, that was fun. Like, and that's the thing. Like when we get the character moments, it's always good. You know, it's still Bill and Ted. That's the thing about it. It's like still them. It's not too out of left field where it's like they're not themselves. No. And that's like the best part of it is that they're just these characters in these wacky situations. But it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's not as impactful for me, and honestly, it doesn't impact the story as much because they just die, and it's like they have a villain in it with these robot thumbs, but it doesn't like they don't address it until like the end of the movie. Like most of the movie is either in heaven and hell or like doing something else, but like it's not until the end of the movie that they really deal with the villain, and like I don't know, it doesn't feel like a looming threat as much as it's just like they gotta. I don't know. It could. I think it was still done fine. It's not awful. Like, oh, I hate it. It was terrible. I hate how. It's like, no, it's still a good goofy comedy and it's well paced and everything like that. And oh my gosh, the scenes with death are so good. And that's
I really like the Martians. They're really cute.
Yeah.
I like
Station.
Yeah.
Station. I like that the death. It's just like a full-on reference to, I forgot the name of it, the Swedish expressionist film and everything like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I forgot the name of it though.
Yeah, no, but that, I think that should have been explored more. Like that could have been a whole Bill and Ted film. It's just like, just put them in like that's the thing with Heaven and Hell. It's like it could be done, but it was way too cartoony. Like if it was like honestly. Like put them in a very, very serious situation, but they're still themselves. Like here, just any other film genre, for example, like put them in like an Indiana Jones film, and it's instantly like a funny comedy because like they have to deal with that, you know. Like if they have to, like that.
Thinking about that, I would love to see that actually.
Just the fact that they have to like whoa,
whoa, dude.
We came up with a lot of hypotheticals on our own. Some may not be suitable for the podcast. But...
Yeah, there's a lot we can't. Actually, all of them we can't really discuss on here.
So good though, but just let's just say at specific points in history, it would also be funny to see them at. But I also think different film genres. It just works with them. You know, they're characters that work very well in their circumstance, and that's like they probably will try to act like they didn't get like it didn't inspire them, but you know, Wayne's World I felt like took a lot from it, but like perfected it in a way, especially the first Wayne's World and everything. It kind of perfected the idea of like these two kind of like rocker dudes that really don't contribute anything to society. Like I feel like it was a lot more tongue-in-cheek than
yeah, I feel like with Wayne's World, they made it a little more realistic, like more believable.
Oh yeah,
like how dumb the guys are,
and that they can actually exist too. Like Bill and Ted in the films are like, they're kind of like these omnipotent beings. Like even in the future, it's like they
in the reverse direction.
It's pretty much like SpongeBob. Like they're the SpongeBobs of their universes where they shouldn't be able to exist. Period. But by some miracle, Bill and Ted are just like. They just are fit for the universe. Even
as adults in the new movie, it's still like wow. They're actually living on their own with a family.
Like is that like that's well, yeah, that's a little like But just to finish off with like Bogus Journey and everything like that, like basically, the long and short of like the first two films is that it was just these teenagers like having fun. It's just like omnipotent kind of like, I think that's, like I said, what kind of works with SpongeBob a lot of the times in a lot of these cartoons is like you get these characters who don't deserve to win. Same thing with like Homer Simpson and all of them. It's like but they get by anyway, and that's so exciting to watch. But they're not as like intelligent as like Ferris Bueller. It's like, no, like their stupidity like defies themselves. And I think that's great. It's like just the fact that they're able to survive in like medieval Europe and all these different time periods, just appear in the middle of a war and it'd be like, oh yeah, dude, this is so cool. I know, man. I think I don't know. I think that character arc works perfectly. Any other points on that?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, that's like kind of the long and short of it. So yeah, flash forward about what?
29 years later.
29 years later. Script has been in literal development hell for a while because no one wants to do it. And of course, they were chained down by like Orion Pictures, which it's like, it's not like Disney or anything that's like begging for nostalgic relevance. So when someone has an actual good idea for a future film in a franchise, they're not able to produce it. But now we are here where we are today, where we already have a new Bill and Ted movie after all this time.
Face the music.
Bill and Ted Face the Music. Before we cut to break, initial thoughts, because we all saw this together. We went to a drive-in. Initial thoughts.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was a solid sequel, a good ending, and I enjoyed it. Like, no complaints here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much on the same line as Tim is. I think it was a perfect cap off to the franchise as a whole, and it was very good.
The thing is, like, the more I look back, I can see flaws in it here and there, but the thing is, I can see a lot of flaws in the first two movies. Like, a lot of flaws. But the thing is like, the series was never meant to be, like, perfect films. They were always supposed to be just really good comedies where you care about the characters, you know? And I think
it never aspires really to be greater than that.
No. Well, that was the initial worry of this film. I thought it was going to go the way of, like, the reboots where it's like, where these soft reboots where it's like, everything's old and they're old and they gotta fix themselves. Like, you can see that with the new Ghostbusters trailer. You got that
Indiana
with like
Jones.
Indiana Jones, the original Force Awakens. It's like, whoa, all this stuff is old, and you got the new heroes who are here to save the day, and they're gonna see all this old stuff. What? You telling me that people travel through time? Well, and you just don't feel that. You feel like it's just in the same universe, and I'm like, I've never had a film, any sequel that happens so far later that feels like I'm right back in the same universe. Like, even with, with the ones I do like from time to time, like, what's a good example? See, it's hard to pinpoint.
Yeah, it's hard. They always screw it up.
Yeah, they do. Like kind of with, I thought Jurassic World was fine. Like, out of the other sequels, it's fine.
The Lost World is far better. Change my mind.
I can't change your mind. I know this.
No, I could change my mind.
Even Force Awakens and everything like that. Like, for as much as I like them, it's like they never like fully got me into like, okay, this is the same universe as this film. Like, there's always this like breaking of like, well, maybe not. Even with the
like
CG,
a huge canon disconnect. Like, oh, this totally wouldn't happen. Like, oh, this is dumb. Oh, we're just back to square one again with the old people.
Yeah, even with the CG in the new film, it's like you get this sense that's like even the time travel and everything like that, it looks like the effects of the first film just enhanced, you know, and you get that sense that it's like, this is just, you know, it's the same thing. They don't talk down to it. They don't say, oh, you need to modernize, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like, no, we just do the same thing, just better, you know. But we're gonna get right back into that after a quick commercial break.
I need my Pop-Tarts, yo.
Get your Pop-Tarts and subscribe to Raid Shadow Legends.
The following announcement has been paid for by Morning, Noon, and Night.
Hey yo, it's me, Mike, from Morning, Noon, and Night, and I've got a little announcement for all you Chicos out there. We got more merch!
Hey everyone, Sky coming at ya as we're approaching the brand new Attitude Era of Morning, Noon, and Night. New podcasts, new Let's Plays, and brand new Attitude Era t-shirts. And if you like us, you better dress like us, brother.
The Morning, Noon, and Night NWO design. Yeah, that's right. Get your new NWO Morning, Noon, and Night t-shirt right now, okay? I need the money.
So go to the link down below, buy all of our products, and dress for success. The Morning, Noon, and Night success for the Morning, Noon, and Night Attitude Era. Morning, Noon, and Night signing off.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by Morning, Noon, and Night.
And we're back. Is that the cookies and cream Pop-Tarts?
Yes.
Dude,
yes, it is.
They taste disgusting to me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they taste like burnt Oreos.
I don't remember
Like
the
good,
last
but-
time I had them.
No, it literally
Tastes like
okay.
warm Oreos.
No, it tastes like
Or like
just the Oreos
salt.
without the cream, just like the cookie. That's what it tastes like to me.
What if it does have cream?
It doesn't taste like it. Milkshake. That's the best. One of the best flavors.
The milkshake ones are the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Brown sugar s'mores. Yeah, they're good. Anyway, you know, Pop-Tart review over.
So now for the Bill and Ted Face the Music, I guess we're gonna go into spoiler territory.
Spoilers. If you don't, if you haven't seen it, watch it. You know, it deserves the money that it gets. We need to encourage better films for Hollywood to make. So watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
So spoilers from here. Yeah, I think okay. Yeah, you can't really get into it without doing spoilers because even the trailers were like slightly misleading. Because initially I thought it was going to be a film where they find like they go to the future and they just see their one version of themselves that it's like that, and then they're like chased through time and stuff like that. I didn't pick up on the whole idea of them. It starts off with their like complete abject failures, which I already got that. But to the point of them like keep having to go to the future to see if they ever get to it. I think that's such a funny idea, and that's such a good concept to do with them. And oh my gosh, like Alex Winter, even though he's like older, he hasn't aged a day. Keanu Reeves has aged, but it's still funny.
Keanu Reeves lost his whole stoner voice.
Oh yeah, it's not possible.
He's not as stoner as he used to be. But, yeah. I felt like he was kind of old Keanu Reeves trying to be a bit younger.
Well, the thing is that I think that works
know.
for the film's advantage because it's like I said about Ghostbusters, it's gonna be funny to see them old and everything like that, and it was, you know, like they decided to give him a gut later on, and then like the prison versions of them is so funny.
It's so big.
I like the one where they're just divorced dads, and it's oh my gosh, so good. Oh my dude, and like I said before, I've never seen a film love its own universe so much that it gets it. You know, it felt like a film that I would write like as my own sequel kind of thing, like the kind of thing I want to do with Indiana Jones at some point. It's like, oh my gosh, because
as a fan, yeah.
For the broken universe, it still acknowledges it.
You know, one thing I noticed, like, over the weekend, that they didn't do that we were thinking they might do, was, remember the Super Bowl commercial where Bill showed up with his younger version of himself? They never did that in the movie.
Well, I think that would be really expensive, to be honest. Because I can kind of notice from the film it is a little lower budget. Because it was like, some scenes were just mostly green screen. That's true. And it felt like that. So, but that would have been a cool idea to have the younger versions and the older versions interact with each other. Dude, you look so old. But I don't know. Like,
oh, sorry.
No, you can say what you're saying. I don't.
Oh, well, I was gonna go on another tangent. I was gonna.
You can go on that tangent. I was just gonna say that, like, I think it's easier to de-age Alex Winter because he still kind of looks young even with the wrinkles, but like Keanu Reeves has changed so much and buffed out so much for like all of his roles that I don't think you would have to recast younger him pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
what's your tangent?
Yeah, so like before we went to actually see the movie, like me and Mike were like waiting at the gas station for the theater to open. I was telling him, like, if I were Bill and Ted, I would just go to the future and then ask my future selves about the song, like have them give me the CD of the song, and then we just pretend that we created it ourselves. And then they just did that in the, like, I didn't even see the trailers or anything, but then they just did that in the movie. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
It's funny, because I even told them while we were waiting, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what they said in the trailers.
Yeah, what if we steal her or something? Can we talk about what else happened at the drive-in?
Oh, yeah, so right before Sky came in, so the drive-in where we live is right next to a gas station.
Yeah, well, they were having a Metallica concert before, like a...
Yeah, they were playing some Metallica concert or something, and there were like 500 cars or something in there, so we had to wait for them to get out. But before we went in, we were just hanging out in the gas station, Tim and I just talking about Bill and Ted, and this one old guy, he just comes walking to us, and he was like, hey, is there any way that I can break into this place? I'm like, you don't know. And then he was like, yeah, man, I asked one of the workers if there's a way for me to come in, and they said that the whole place is surrounded by barbed wire fences. And we're just like, we don't know. We just come here to see movies. And it's so weird. I remember he kept asking me the same questions over and over and over.
Something.
Yeah, and when I showed up, I just saw you talking to this random guy, and then when he left, I'm like, who was that? And you were like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was so weird. He kept asking me the same questions, like, so you telling me that I can go in right there? And I'm like, yeah, that's the entrance. And he's like, oh, so you're telling me I can go right in there? I'm like, yeah. That's where you go in, and there's a ticket booth, and you order your thing, and you go see the movie. He's like, oh, so I go in there, right? I'm like, oh my gosh.
I think what happened was, so like when he walked up to us, he also like started trying to sell us Metallica shirts.
Well, yeah, he was holding a Metallica shirt, and he was like, hey man, you want to buy this? And we're like, no, we're not really fans.
Yeah.
So I think his plan was to sneak in during the Metallica concert and then start selling shirts to the fans who were there.
Okay.
Dude, he was sitting there. We were just sitting there like 10 minutes.
Let's go through this plan. I know this is a tangent, but it's so funny. Let's go through this plan. Here's the hoops he had to dodge. Number one, he couldn't be seen by the entrance in the security guards coming in. And there were security guards because it was a big show that day. Number two, he couldn't have been seen by the concession people and the people directing traffic. So if he would sell anything, he couldn't go car to car. No one will listen to him. He would have to wait at the concession stand and get spotted. And number three, even if he went car to car, I would never buy a t-shirt from a guy who went up to my car at a drive-in and be like, especially in the days of Corona, and be like, you want this? $50. To be fair, though.
Weird. And then, so before we actually went into the drive-in, there was already a cop parked at the gas station looking for this guy. And he was asking people around us if they've seen this guy walking around. And yeah, the cop just waited there, and we had to wait right outside the drive-in.
Yeah, because a bunch of pickup trucks came out for the Metallica concert. So many pickup trucks. Not to be like mean. If you like Metallica, it's fine, but every single one was a pickup truck with a white guy who was bald in it. Every single one.
And here's the thing. So I was like in front of the line waiting for Bill and Ted, like right outside the drive-in entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was trying to sell us the shirt, he just walked right in front of my car.
In front of the cop.
All the lights are on. He just walks in front of the car, looks at the cop and security guard.
Like, I was going to tell the cop,
and then
but it was so...
walks so slowly in the open.
With the lights. All the lights are on him. And it's so obvious. I called Tim. Mike didn't have his service, but I called Tim immediately. I'm like, Tim, you see this? And Tim's like laughing, and we're laughing so hard because we see him. He doesn't even get arrested. They just like, it's the lamest attempt at a break-in ever. It's just like, yeah, nah, sorry, man. And dude, you'd think of all places, a drive-in would be the easiest to break into, but he was just so not with it mentally. Something was up.
Oh yeah, there's definitely something wrong with that guy.
No, but he definitely had an accomplice too, because when the cop turned him around and kicked him out,
dude, it's not even one guy. He
in the backseat, and then they drove off. So he had someone on the inside.
Dude, why would they drive off? They would just try driving. You could just, oh my gosh, dude. Imagine having an accomplice. 2 people couldn't figure out a way to get in. 2 people. Just sitting there. It's like, how do we get in, man? It's only like, you know, a forest where, you know, you could barely see anyone if they just walk in at the right time. Dude, how do we get in? I know. We go to the end of the concert. We wait till the very end when everyone's leaving and all the lights are on and everyone can see us. And I walk straight past the security guard. It'll be perfect. They won't even notice us.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I need to breathe.
We finally go into the drive-in, and it's actually pretty nice and calm and spacious.
Yeah, because
and
everyone...
then Bill and Ted face the music.
Yeah, and it was... Oh my gosh. Like I said, you know, what more can I say other than... I think the casting was great on it. Getting Death back was great. Bill and Ted's kids, not annoying. It was literally just like younger Bill and Ted, and I thought that was
they
like
were
a perfect.
Awesome, actually.
Yeah, and just
it took a bit of selling for me on the kids, and like.
Well, I didn't sell me to the end where it was like the new generation basically mixes music, and I'm like, okay, I kind of get that, and I'm like, but they still let Bill and Ted play the final chord. It's like, and that's the thing. It wasn't that they need like it wasn't the story was that kids are better than us, we should just let them do everything. It was that, you know, like when life is hard, you can always have help. You know, there's always people on your side to be there for, you know, and that was the whole idea of like they had to take this on their own. They have to bring everything on themselves. And that's like a cool dad story. You know, that's like a Finding Nemo type story where it's like the dad thinks they have all the responsibility in the world and all the weight on their shoulders, but it's like, you know, that's what the family's for. And like that works with their daughters, not as much with their wives. Like the subplot's fine in that, but it's like you don't feel like the sense of family. It was more like the father-daughter relationship, you know,
between the husband and wife.
The princesses were always kind of throwaway characters if you think about it.
So yeah, it's like in universe it works, but I'm saying like from a general film standpoint, like it would have been more interesting to see like the worst thing I have to say is that the film just kind of ends. There's like no epilogue.
I agree.
And it's like, I want to see them like feel like they succeeded and everything. And I'm like, I know you can't technically show too much, but at the same time, I just crave like this sense of like satisfaction between the characters. And
I wanted a little more falling action with this movie, though. I don't know. It's still out of all the movies, I still kind of feel like the new one has the most heart. In my opinion.
100%. That's what I feel. It reminded me of the Morning, Noon, Night movie, and it's like, man, I want to write more. I actually got more ideas because it felt like that kind of energy we have, you know, just from the readings. You guys remember that like it's full of heart, but it's also really comedic, and you get that sense of like you care about the characters so much. And even for the biggest critics, like even like Red Letter Media, what they were saying, it's like it's so innocent and pure. It's like candy. It's like, even if you have a film related anger against it, it's like there's nothing to really hate about the movie, you know? There's nothing that I'm going in, I'm like, okay, that was kind of crass, that was kind of off color. It was like, oh, it's just so sweet. It's so pure.
Yeah, again, I was a little concerned on like, oh, it's just the young people taking over, or it's like, oh, it's just the women taking over from the men because women are better, that kind of thing. But then they didn't do it. They didn't go for that, and I'm like, okay, thank you for not going for that. Like,
Tim says, yeah, just leave the women in their place. The women have their place.
Okay,
should I leave that in?
I'll leave
it in. I'll leave it in. I'll leave it in.
If it was between us, I wouldn't have to clarify. Since it's on the internet, I have to defend myself.
Yeah. This is a female forward podcast. This is a female forward podcast. So between us three guys, it's a female. It's a female, right, guys?
Yes. But again, I'm just glad they didn't do like Ghostbusters, where you replace the men with the women, and then the women are just never funny.
And that doesn't help with like.
Women are just never funny.
Tim's just digging a pit for himself right now.
Or it's Star Wars, or it's like Rey is better than Luke in every way and has to inspire Luke. Like, I'm glad that like Bill and Ted, they were active throughout the story. Their time travel thing was hilarious. Like, I really like both of their time travel subplots, where it's like Bill and Ted are going to the future, and their daughters are going to the past, and both are just very enjoyable. So I'm so glad that I was able to enjoy both the new stuff and the old stuff.
And I love the choices for like people in music also. Like, oh my gosh, of course we had to get like everyone in there and everything like that. The random cameo of Kid Cudi, where I'm not a fan, like, but it's just so out of nowhere. And then like he pretty much hints at the end of the movie he was pretty much stationed the entire time, and that like you don't see him rap or even do music at all. You just literally see him just spit quantum physics, and I'm like, that's the best way to do a celebrity cameo. Cameo. What the heck is a cameo?
You know who they should have gotten to explain all the everything?
What?
They should have gotten Jaden Smith.
Oh my god!
I still stand by the best cameo in any movie is just in the what was it? Muppets Most Wanted. It's like, oh, can I have an usher? And Usher comes out as an usher, and that's the whole joke. And then that's it. And he seems so upset to be there, and I love it. If I had that power in Hollywood, I would totally do that. I would bring Eminem in like a giant Eminem costume, and that would be the entire cameo. just
oh my goodness.
Just make Elton John and like LeBron James reenact steamed hams just for no reason, just because
what LeBron James have to
do? Upstate New York. Oh my gosh. So
I'm like, honestly, and like what I love about like the third one and the first one is that like I get those nerd moments when I'm hearing Mozart play his Mozart songs, watching Napoleon at Waterloo, seeing Louis Armstrong, like, you know, you get those nerd moments.
Jimi
like,
Hendrix.
Oh my gosh,
Jimi Hendrix was good. Like, I didn't expect Jimi Hendrix. They didn't show him in the trailers or anything. I'm like, that's like a really cool idea. Like when you're getting history. Personally, I think they should have gotten like we were talking about Tarkovsky. I mean, especially for that kind of ending you got going on where like the world's ending and you're making like the best song of all time, which is pretty much Mike said it was a cover of like the song that was in the first movie, which is awesome.
A lot of people say that, but I've been listening to both back to back. I don't know. I don't know.
And to be fair, like I think it's a good song and all. It's like really like fun to listen to, but you know, like for the song that's supposed to unite the entire world and put the world in balance, you'd think to put some lyrics in there. Like it's all instrumental.
They said it wasn't about the song; it was about the people or whatever playing it.
I mean, yeah, like for some reason they're like, yeah, let's put Jesus Christ on on a cowbell. Well, I was actually thinking about, we were talking about a couple of historical figures. The first thing I thought of in the first movie is like, why isn't like Jesus would have been insane at that mall scene. Like imagine like turning all the water into wine and everything. And then everyone gets angry because they wanted water.
And then that's like walking on a mall fountain.
Well, that's what they did. They showed Jesus like crossing the Delaware and stuff like that. And I thought,
oh, that was hilarious.
Oh my god!
Like it has so many like, I love it because it's like Bill and Ted are dumb, but the humor is just so next level. Like it actually took multiple brain cells to come up with these ideas.
Speaking, my favorite joke still in the whole entire in the whole entire trilogy is in the first movie when they're outside the police station and they're just like, "Well, time travel back to here to bring the keys to us." And then
just have to remember it.
It's all right there.
Like that was so creative. Like, I've never seen any time travel movie do that. With like, okay, in the future, I'm gonna help myself out now, so now I'm gonna reap the benefits. And there we go. It's so smart. But... And
it cuts so much time off of the film. It's perfect.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
You know, people were actually, before Avengers Endgame came out, people were actually theorizing that time travel was going to work that way.
No, it can only, I think that can only work in a Bill and Ted movie. Especially the other thing with like...
theorizing literally, like, they're going to be in situations like that. And I was like, no, I don't know about that.
Especially the thing about, like, we got to go to the future to take things from ourselves. Like, their future selves wouldn't have the USB with the thing because it wouldn't be the same timeline, etc., etc. Like, this timeline's broken, and that's like that's the fun of the movie, is that it doesn't care. It's like, even for Back to the Future, as clean as they try to make the time travel, it's still pretty obvious when it's broken. When it's a comedy, you can get away with pretty much anything and be like, oh, it's just time travel.
If time travel ever existed, I would love for it to be Bill and Ted like time travel,
where you're just in a bunch of tubes.
Yeah.
So good.
And then the whole thing's broken, so there really isn't any consequence.
There's just no consequences. It's like God ordained. Can I also say, like, it's funny how it's like the film's pretty much it's I think according to like the like Bogus Journey in the most recent film, it's like the film embraces that, like, basically both like futuristic deities exist, and at the same time we also have a God and a Jesus. So all of it, like, basically it's like the broken universe of that. It's similar to like what's a good example? I remember another show doing that where it's like, I think it was in The Simpsons, where there's like, yeah, God and like we already have God and everything, but we also have like aliens and everything's broken at the same time. And I'm like, you know, like, it's one and it's like, we got to do all these things in order to save the universe, and like Jesus even helps us too. And I'm like, wouldn't, like, you know, like, even though he's a historical figure, it's like, if Jesus really was Jesus in that universe, like walking on water and everything, wouldn't he just like time travel to the present? Like, that's what, if I was Bill and Ted, I would go back in time, take Jesus to the present, and be like, and
Jesus solve it,
and he would just snap his fingers, like, boom, boom, it's done, you know. I guess that's what Bill and Ted they would have had a better life if they weren't heathens, you know what I mean?
Well,
you know,
I think the thing is that God like ordained them to be the saviors of the universe, so they were like,
yeah,
God's
that happened in the second
servants.
movie pretty much. So.
Yeah, so they were God's servants, and God was acting through them to save the universe. Man, this is a really
way too deep.
Well, it's like, if you're gonna acknowledge God and Jesus in the film, it's like, how is that gonna work? Yeah, I think I am reading too different. Like, the literal picture of Jesus, it's just the one from the painting. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So, for those who haven't seen it but are just listening to us spoil the whole thing anyway, when they show Jesus, he gets teleported from the Last Supper, and the Last Supper is taken straight out
straight from the painting.
Leonardo da Vinci.
They're even wearing like colorful clothes and everything like that, but like, that's in line. That's totally in line, and with all the other historical characters. And I kind of wanted to see more. You know, I saw the Hindenburg in the background. I literally saw the Hindenburg, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this could have went so dark.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna say it because we're on the internet, but you guys know what I'm
we talked about a couple of historical events that might be kind of interesting with Bill and Ted in it. That's all we can say.
Yeah. Honestly, okay, I'll say this because he's already a joke. Everyone jokes about him. I was waiting for Hitler to show up in the first one, and in this one, I was like, come on,
they had Genghis Khan, which is like, that's pretty suffice, like, and
that was so funny.
Because like, if okay, they kind of treated Genghis Khan as like, oh, he's kind of like this Mongol guy. It's like, oh, he's kind of like, but it's like, and they have him, oh, he's so funny, like going around skating and with a baseball bat, haha. It's like, meanwhile, he murdered thousands and like raped and pillaged.
And they actually kind of went into that right as Bill and Ted took him from his time.
Yeah, but they just don't acknowledge. Oh my gosh!
Like when they first showed up to get Genghis Khan, and it showed Genghis just like kind of sitting there being like pampered by the women. I'm like, oh, just Genghis Khan. Imagine if they and then Genghis Khan, he just grabs someone.
Like, whoa!
I'm like, oh, there it is.
Mid meat chew, like he's still eating something too. Like, and that's the other thing about the movie. Like the first time they time travel, they go to the Old West, and it's like a guy on a toilet. It's like, oh, this is gonna be goofy. It's gonna be a goofy version of time travel. And then they go to like medieval times, and then like Genghis Khan and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, just so good. If you haven't watched them, watch it. Face the Music is probably one of the best sequels in our day. That actually does nostalgia well. It's up there with like Mad Max Fury Road for me for like sequels that that worked like years later. So yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Any last comments?
Next.
So where would you? So Sky, I know since you've watched all three films, how would you rank each movie from like least to best?
So least, Bogus Journey. Like at first I would think it like a 6, but I'll give it a 7. I don't know. It's really hard because like the first one's a classic, but what I'm realizing now is like this. Honestly, Face the Music I think is a more interesting story. Period. Whatever. I'll put Face the Music like middle, so it's like solid like 7.5 or at least an 8 if I'm being generous, and then the first Bill and Ted at a solid 8. What do you guys think?
I'll let Tim go first.
Oh well, I haven't seen 2 in full, so I'm not gonna talk about that one. But for the first one, yeah, I'd say like around an 8, like 8.2. I'll say 8.2. Honestly, I can't decide whether they're like Face the Music or Excellent Adventure better.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'll tie them at 8.3.
Nice. What do you think, Mike?
That's my rating.
So here's my thing. So I don't know. I have a weird opinion on Bogus Journey. It's my least favorite of the 3 movies. But I think it just passes for me.
I think the ending helps. The ending definitely helps.
I would give it like a 6.5 or a 7. And Face the Music, I think it's way better than Bogus Journey, but it might just be a step or 2 below the original.
It's really starting to grow on me the more I think about it too, though.
It's not really saying much because I feel like Excellent Adventure and Face the Music are pretty much tied.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to give a rating, I would say Face the Music is probably an 8 for me, and Excellent Adventure is like an 8.5.
Yeah, sounds pretty good to me. So, like I said, if you haven't watched them, watch it. Watch Face the Music. Let's save the.
With your life. Go watch Bill and Ted.
Guys, come on.
Time to face the music, everyone. And also save our film industry. Please go to like a drive-in or like a social distance theater or something, please. I want films to premiere again and not just leak onto Netflix.
Yes. Yeah. And trust me, you won't regret it. Trust me when I tell you, the first 2 movies, wonderful classics, And Face the Music, right now, especially at a time like this, is a movie that we all desperately needed. Because it's one of the most positive movies I've seen in a while. And as far as new movies go.
Oh my gosh, it's like candy. Even if you haven't watched the first two movies, you might not get everything, but the film is pure sweet and probably the best thing to come out of 2020. Like, made me so happy. Yeah,
it's definitely a feel good movie.
Yeah, and even if it like doesn't hold up in the future, it works for the time we're living in now. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it'll hold up as still like a very fun, enjoyable movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Yeah, and if there's so yeah, go watch Bill and Ted.
And watch out for people trying to sell you Metallica shirts.
Don't trust them.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you all next time.
Later. Oh yeah. Before we go, we gotta say it. Be excellent to each other.
And party on,
dudes. We'll see you later.